Hey guys, Joe Russo here at the Granite Law Group. We handle catastrophic injury all the way down to simple motor vehicle collisions based in New Hampshire and Massachusetts. And I wanted to do a quick video with you about underinsured motorist coverage, coverage. So one of the questions during the intake process that we always ask potential clients is, do you have coverage? And typically the response is, I have full coverage, but I don't know for sure. Well, it's very simple to find out. You can go to your auto insurance company for your vehicle. Let's say you have Geico by way of example, and request what's called a DEC page, a declaration page. And it lists the coverage, and you'll find out if you have coverage. If you don't have it, you should probably get it. And let me tell you why. Let's say you're involved in a motor vehicle collision. The other driver is at fault. You have Geico, they have Allstate. Now, let's say that you have a very severe injury, a surgery, torn rotator cuff, something to that effect. Now, you are gambling every time you get on the road that the person that hits you has sufficient coverage to satisfy your injury. Oftentimes they don't. In the state of New Hampshire, insurance coverage is it's optional on a vehicle. So you don't even have to have it in New Hampshire. In Massachusetts, you're required to have it, but you can get the minimum limits. So what happens if you have a severe, serious injury, such as some sort of a surgical operation, and the person that struck you only has minimal coverage, let's say $25,000, okay? Under those circumstances, your case is worth much more than $25,000. So what do? Well, if you have coverage, underinsured motorist coverage, you'll be able to tap into your auto policy. And here's the way that this works. You have a case, it's a surgery case. You go to the person's insurance company that struck you. I think we said Allstate under this example. Allstate has 25 in coverage. You say, I have a surgery, here's my records and bills. This claim is worth way more than 25,000. We're gonna ask for a full tender of the policy. And they tender it up. They make an offer of 25,000. Now, before you accept the 25,000, let's say you have 100,000 in coverage through your Geico policy. You would have to then go to Geico and say, this is my case, I have this surgery, the BI, bodily injury policy through Allstate just tendered up $25,000. Do I have permission to settle? Geico is going to say yes, you have permission to settle, but it's required that you obtain that permission in writing before you proceed against the policy through Geico. And here's the rationale behind all this. Let's say the person that struck you with that small $25,000 Allstate policy happens to be none other than Bill Gates. And Bill Gates is driving a Bentley, and for whatever reason, he just got $25,000 in coverage on his vehicle. Well, under those circumstances, Geico would say, well, hold on a sec. You have a $100,000 policy, but Bill Gates just hit you. So you're going to be made whole through Bill Gates, through their personal assets. Doesn't matter what the insurance coverage is. It's kind of irrelevant under these circumstances. So anytime you go to a carrier and you ask for permission, they do an asset check on the person that struck you, and they're trying to figure out if it's one of these unicorn scenarios where they have sufficient money to cover your injury so the policy doesn't kick in. I've never seen that happen. They always just give you permission, but you're required to obtain that permission. Otherwise, they could say you didn't go through the proper channels and we're not going to give you any coverage. So now you have permission, and it becomes a simple game of mathematics. If you have a $100,000 policy, the person that struck you has tendered the $25,000 BI policy. 100 minus 25, there's an additional $75,000 worth of coverage through your carrier. And under this scenario, we're talking about Geico. So you would make a demand the same way you had just made a demand to the BI carrier, to your own insurance company, Geico, to try to get that remaining 75. And under this circumstance where there's a surgery, you're probably going to get it. The case is worth a global total amount of over $100,000. And people always say, well, I don't want to use my own insurance. I don't want my rates to go up. So they're not going to go up. If you are not at fault for the accident, your rates are not going to go up if you use your policy. In fact, you have been paying extra to get that coverage in the first place. It's optional. It's not required. So if you don't have it, you should probably go out and get it, because it doesn't cost that much when they go through the underwriting process, because there's a level of protection where you're betting that the person that struck you doesn't have sufficient coverage. So through underwriting, to get that additional coverage through the is going to not cost a tremendous amount in premiums. But notwithstanding, you've been paying for it. So you better use it, because otherwise you would just be leaving money on the table. And God knows insurance companies don't need any additional money, especially if you're entitled to it. So that's generally how these policies work. If you have any questions, you want to discuss coverage, how to pull a deck page, how to figure out if you have it, how to go about requesting more of it, how the different insurance companies play off against each other, we'd be happy to chat with you. I'm going to leave a link to the website in the comments, and please reach out to us anytime. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and take care.